Today on the Average Joe's of Arizona, we're going to take a look at modifying the bumper on the Rubicon. Okay, so what we've done so far, we've taken off the bumper, broken it down. Here's the inside metal piece, and we got the outside plastic over here. There's some plastic. I decided not to take these out because I really don't need to. I'm going to reuse this bumper. So I talked about just cutting this down and cutting off these soup cans here and using a metal bumper instead of and just ditching the plastic, but I don't think it's going to look that good, truthfully. So I'm still going to use a metal bumper, and we're going to cut the metal bumper down, and then we're going to cut the plastic down as well. Now, I got busy with a lot of stuff. I think I took some good video of putting the winch plate on. I ended up using the Harbor Freight winch plate, and I think it's in the video. I've been working on this for a couple of days now. So I utilized the Harbor Freight winch plate. It had the two pre-drilled holes I could use. I didn't have to drill any holes in. The only modification I had to do on the winch plate here, as you see, I cut that down. Hold on a second, let me get it. When I put the tow hooks back on, it needed to go over that shoulder. So I had to cut this lip. This lip went all the way out, which I think I explained in the last video there. So that'll go back on. The other side will go back on. Now what we're going to have to do is modify, obviously, the metal front bumper. So it's not going to, this lip is not going to fit. This lip is obviously not going to fit on here. So what I'm planning on doing, I'm going to take this section out here, and then I'm going to have to take a section out for the roller fair head. Actually, I'm just going to have to take the whole front of here out, cut that top lip out, put it back on there. Now after I cut the top lip, I'm going to use these bolt holes to hold on to that plastic bumper, and I think I'm going to stubby it about right here. I'm going to cut it down right about here on each side. And these holes will allow the bolts to go through into the plastic bumper. So basically what I got to do next is cut this top section out here so we can mount it, and then stubby it. Once we get that on, then we can start cutting on the plastic. So we're almost home free, almost done.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we ended up doing for fitting it right, we had to take the top rail off. We had to take that all completely off. Now I know there's weak points here. If I hit anything, it's going to fold like a cheap soup can. But we got to grind it down and get it. Basically what this is mounting to is just a holder to hold the plastic bumper up front. It's just for looks right at this point. It's not for protection. It's really not going to, you know, if I hit something out here, it's going to snap right here like that. It doesn't have the rigidity of this piece anymore. So here's what it is. We'll run it for a while till we find the right bumper that we want and put that on. But, you know, it's basically for looks at this point, and I know it, whatever. So, we'll try to fit it and see how it looks. So what we're having a problem with is lining up these bolt holes with this, and as you can see, it's a little short. Got to come up. So we're going to end up having to take that top off or grind it down. Just going to have to grind this down more. Now we got to cut. Mark it here. Yeah. Cut. Alright. So here's what we got. You can see we cut the top. Initially I thought I could get away with just cutting off a section here to fit over the frame rails, but it wasn't working. It was pushing the bumper too far down, and I couldn't line the bolt holes. So we ended up taking off this middle section here, which, I mean, it's going to be really weak. Got a little bit of rigidity off the bottom, but the top is going to, you know, if we hit a rock or something like that, it's going to fold in. So basically this part in the plastic is now just for looks. Cover up all that stuff. And mainly to hold the do two things. It's going to be for looks, and then it can hold the lights until we decide on a rock crawling bumper that we're going to get eventually. But part of the project is to see how inexpensive we can make it. Put a winch on, and I had the winch already, so I'm in at $40 for the winch plate. Alright, so what we're going to do, the Dremel didn't work. That I'll use that for finer cuts on the inside. So I'm going to use the jigsaw. I taped off where I want to do. I'm going to go on the outside of these tape lines. And that's about right. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but you know, it's an interim bumper, basically. Not temporary, a little bit more than temporary. Could be a month or it could be a year. So it's an interim bumper. It'll work. We're just going to cut it off here. And that gives me enough to where I can still bolt it on here, the metal. So we're going to use the jigsaw to cut this and see how this works. What I want to do, now we got to cut the top off here. Obviously, we got to cut along here. What I want to try to avoid, if possible, see the double gap here? See all that? I want to try to avoid that so it's not here. So I'm going to cut a little at a time, cut it out, fit it, move it in. And I think what I'm going to do when I get to the top here, I'm going to cut with the Dremel, I'm going to cut down close to where it's at. But I'm going to try to cut on the top. Instead of here, I'm going to try to cut back here, if it'll allow me, if I can get it down there. So rain doesn't get in there. If I do have an open gap on the top, what I think I'm going to do, I got some of that insulator, that foam. You spray in there and it swells up. So we're going to do that. And we're sand it down, paint it black. So, okay. So we got the bumper ready to go back in place. We got everything cut out. Put the winch plate on. We cut the steel bumper, like I showed you earlier. Cut the hell out of that. That's just there basically to hold on the plastic bumper, so you don't see underneath the Jeep, I guess. The reason why I decided to stay with the plastic bumper, I want to utilize the lights, so I needed these. So there we go. So initially, if you take a look at how we cut this bumper, that's the steel bumper. Took the whole top off along here to fit in, so it fit behind the winch and the winch plate. Then we cut, I saved the bolt holes here to hold this plastic bumper on. So we cut just outside of the bolt holes on each side. Did that because this bumper, that's the only thing that's going to hold this bumper on, is those winch plates, or those bolt holes right there, and we put them into here. Now for the plastic bumper itself, I thought I could get away with just kind of lightly cutting it all out, but it just would not fit. So we ended up hacking this pretty good. It's not going to win any beauty awards, that's for sure. But it'll do covering. It'll hold these lights in until we decide what type of steel rock crawling bumper we want to get. Here again, it's just to patch up the holes so you don't see the ugly frame rails. So if you take a look how we cut it, I had to cut it completely around the side, and I kept on having to cut it deeper and deeper. I didn't get these lined very well. I'll probably trim those up a little bit. And I cut it a little further out of the steel bumper. So we're going to drop all this in place and bolt it back up, and call it a day. I got to trim this or sand this down a little bit, get some of that stuff off, and yeah. Okay, so we got the winch on and the bumper somewhat stubby. I guess it's a mid length. We ended up taking off about a foot of the plastic is all, which is fine. I mean, that's just comes out to where the tire starts. I know it'd look better with the full stubby, but I needed that metal on there to hold it on. So It looks okay. I mean, we've got the winch plate on. It's strong. It's working. I have no problem pulling on that. I know it's got grade A bolts in. It's to the frame. It's bolted on really good. My retrieval tow hooks are solid. The only thing that's a weak part is the metal bumper underneath, which I showed you on the film, and this plastic, of course, is all is weak, but it's on there. It looks a little better than the metal, I thought, and it'll hold the lights in. So, I mean, like I said, it's for an interim bumper for what we did. I already had the winch. The channel, winch channel, was on sale. I got 25% off at $40. I'm into this $40 right now, and this will work as a good interim bumper. I'll have the winch, which is critical, and that's what I wanted basically. Now next is to find the right rock crawling bumper to get full protection up here. Biggest thing that I wanted was get that winch on there in case I needed it, and it's on there and it's solid. The rest is just to cover up the blemishes, make it look kind of okay. So hope you like it. Hope you got a lot out of the last couple of videos, taking it off, putting the winch plate on, and this. So we're good there. And that, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us what you think of it.